Good morning, everyone. If we could have your attention, we'd like to go ahead and get started and welcome you to Quincy University. Thank you for taking a few moments out of your schedule to be with us this morning on a very exciting day as we make a very historic announcement. And at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the 24th president of Quincy University, Dr. Brian McGee.
Thank you, Matt, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for that. It is indeed a great day to be a Hawk, and we'll be illustrating that to you soon enough. We have, it's a wonderful crowd full of many special guests. And typically, anytime there is a current or former college president in the audience, I might introduce them. And so I'm pleased to introduce the former president of Simpson College in Indianola, Iowa, Marcia Kelleher, is in the back of the room. Marcia, I would introduce you even if we weren't going to get married in 2 weeks and 4 days. So, pleasure to have Marcia at her first press conference with us, along with all the other wonderful folks who are here. And I'd be also remiss in saying, poor Dr. Wyatt saying, I'm a former president too. So Dr. Robert Wyatt, who is our Vice President for Institutional Advancement, is also the former president of Coker College in South Carolina. So I covered your bets, though this is not your first press conference, Dr. Wyatt. Today, though, we're not here to talk about all the distinguished guests in this room. There are many. It is to talk first about a different time, a time that some of you might be able to guess something about as I go along and why we're saying it. But let's see if you can guess a year. Gasoline cost 40 cents a gallon. A Morton's frozen dinner, they called them TV dinners then, cost 25 cents. That's some cheap eating. A new Ford Galaxy 500 could be purchased for under $4,000. Anybody remember the Ford Galaxy 500? Many of you can't, you weren't born yet. But 352 cubic inch V8, it was a nice ride. MASH, Sanford and Sons, and The Odd Couple were popular television programs. The Sears Tower was completed after taking 3 years to build. Secretariat won horse racing's Triple Crown. Only 4 horses have done it since that year. The Chicago Cubs did not win the World Series. Neither did the St. Louis Cardinals. That is some consolation to me. Tennis star Monica Seles was born, as was Anson Mount, the latest person to play the captain of Star Trek's Enterprise. That's NCC 1701 is the registration, for those of you paying attention. Locally, the Mississippi River was at flood stage for 93 days in this year, and for a time, West Quincy was completely covered with water as the river levees were overwhelmed. Quincy Senior High School opened the school year with a brand new building, which is still in use today. In an example of the past replicating the present, the Quincy Cubs of the Midwestern League played their final season of baseball in what is now Quincy University Stadium. Shame on them for leaving. A member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, Barbara Mandrell, performed at Quincy College. A Midwestern kid named Brian McGee began the first grade 3 years before he first visited Quincy, Illinois. And of course, where this year is concerned, a great many of you had not yet been born, to my mild irritation. The year, folks, was 1973, and today that year has special significance. A year ago, Quincy University announced its largest freshman class in 30 years, when we had 307 women and men becoming our newest Hawks. Some of you were present on that day, and it was a good party. Today, though, we have the reason to throw an even bigger celebration, because we certainly have a bigger announcement. Quincy University today can announce its largest freshman class in 50 years with 327 first-year students. Because you can all do math, and especially those of you who are QU graduates, the last time a freshman class was bigger than this year's class was in 1973 when Quincy University was still Quincy College. It's been a long time coming, and we're so pleased to have it today. This year's freshman class of 327 is 7% higher than last year's record class. And our total number of new students who are arriving at QU for the first time, that's freshmen plus transfers, is 411, even bigger than last year's number, and the largest number of new students arriving at QU since 1990. Our total full-time undergraduate student number is over 1,000 students at 1,011. That's a 2% increase over last year. And while our total headcount for enrollment at QU is not final, once again this year, we have over 1,200 students at Quincy University, and we're very pleased by that good news. Now, I'd be remiss in noting that the people in this room are the reason that's possible. It is you who are recruiting students. It is you who are welcoming students to campus. It is you who are providing the essential services to Quincy University students throughout their time here. It is you who are helping students stay here on time, on task, and complete their degrees by doing the work that they need and deserve to do in the classroom, and by having the support they need outside the classroom to earn this wonderful degree. And I'm so delighted to know that so many of these 327 students will arrive here, and they will graduate on time and on task 4 years from now. We are also grateful for the donors, the employers, and all those who make possible the great work of the folks in this room in recruiting and retaining these students. It is our supporters who help make the Quincy University experience possible, because we know that it costs more to provide these services to students than it does than they will actually pay for them. So that means philanthropy is essential. That means that our donors are important to the success of this institution in bringing this record-breaking class today. I'm also grateful to our Board of Trustees, which continues to support and sustain this institution. This is a room full of leaders and people who have worked very hard. I know many of you are thinking of the long list of things you have to do today, because that's who you are. But I would ask you to give us just a few more minutes and spend a little time here celebrating. You richly deserve it. One final note. Apparently some members of the President's Cabinet like to have little wagers. So I can tell you that both Mr. Oliver and Dr. Tracy were absolutely convinced they had the right number for this, and they firmly settled on their numbers. Dr. Tracy even suggested she was going to go out of her way to cook the books to make sure she got the right number by, of course, recruiting just that perfect number. I can tell you with absolute confidence that Mr. Oliver and Dr. Tracy were both wrong. So 327 is the number, and we are incredibly proud of what everyone in this room has accomplished today. This is a group celebration, indeed a group victory. With that said, for a few more words about this year's freshman class and enrollment, please welcome Mr. Tom Oliver, our Vice President for Enrollment Management, who will talk to us a bit further.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We say often that it's a great day to be a Hawk, and it certainly is today. But last year and all of the months that led up to this event today made it a great year to be a Hawk. Our apps were strong out the gate when we opened the application season last August, and that momentum continued through the entire year. Before I give you a little bit of a profile of the class, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that recruitment is an endeavor that is shared by many people on this campus. It is not just the admission office. And in fact, if it were just the admission office, chances are we would not enjoy the kind of success that we have enjoyed, because it does take a village to get this work done. So I want to thank particularly the coaching staff, who spend probably as much time out on the road traveling and meeting students as the admission staff. I also want to thank faculty and staff on campus who connect with students and help share the QU story. And mostly I want to thank my team in enrollment, both admissions and in student financial services, for their tireless and hard work. This kind of work doesn't just happen. There's an art and a science to it. The science part is kind of my part of the job, is to look at the data and point in the right direction, or at least point in a direction I think will work. But the art is going out and making contact and telling our story and sharing the QU mission with prospective students and their families, and sharing the value. And that takes everyone in this room, and I couldn't be more thankful and more grateful for the work that you all have done to bring in this class. It is a privilege and an honor to be able to serve an institution like this one. So let's share a little bit about the class this year. First of all, we received a record number of applications. 2,197 applicants applied for admission to this institution. We admitted right at half of them, 1,098. We enrolled, as Dr. McGee just shared with you, 327. Their average GPA is a 3.4 on a 4-point scale, and if you're thinking about what that looks like on a transcript, most of our students have a pretty even mix of A's and B's, taking a traditional college preparatory curriculum. They have an average SAT above the national average at 1133. 19% of our students submitted their application without a test score and then were admitted test optional. This year was a return to students taking and sitting for either the SAT or the ACT, and so we saw more students submitting tests. 147 of the incoming first-year students are from Illinois, 64 are from Missouri, 5 are from Iowa, and 111 are from elsewhere. And that includes 31 states, 17 countries around the world. Over 240 high schools are represented in this year's first-year class. We receive students and welcome students from all over the country and all over the world. Our 84 transfer students, 7 of them are from outside the United States. 21 states are represented, including Illinois and Missouri. And we have students from 28 four-year institutions who chose to make QU their home, and 21 two-year institutions. It really has been a remarkable year. The only thing that gives me pause as we move forward is that when we have a couple years of success back to back, the bar gets set even higher. And while my staff has been very comfortable with our plus 300 count, when we walk out of this room, the count is once again 0. And we have to look forward to getting back to a class that'll be in the 300s. We can do it. This institution has an awful lot of momentum in front of us, and we do look forward to the challenge. Just to give you an idea of what we are looking at in terms of some new initiatives, we are expanding our messaging channels. We have, in the last couple years, moved aggressively in the digital space, and we continue to do so, looking for new opportunities to get our message out where students are most likely to see and learn about Quincy University. We are always exploring the opportunity to be in new markets and have a Quincy presence in new cities and new locations. We are focused primarily on the middle part of the United States, typically within a 10 or so hour drive of the campus, where we're likely to have the most success. We are looking at an innovative new approach to admission called, not creatively, direct admission. We are part of a small group of schools that are piloting this new approach to admission where we are able to search profiles of students and basically offer admission to qualified students before they even have a chance to apply. It is something new that is being done by just a very small slice of the higher education landscape, but it has the potential to be a game changer in college admission, removing some pretty significant barriers to young people completing their application and making it successfully through the enrollment process to enroll in college. And ultimately, QU is an institution about access. We want to make a high-quality private Catholic and Franciscan education available to an increasing number of students, not because we necessarily want to be a bigger institution, but because we believe that the world will be a better place if more students leave Quincy University and take what they've learned here and combine that with their own innate talents and abilities and go out and make this world a better place. And that is consistent with the charge that St. Francis of Assisi gave the friars back in the Middle Ages. We are also exploring ways to address college affordability. We are not alone in that challenge, but more importantly, in front of us, we have a complete revision of the FAFSA, the application that families use to apply for federal and state financial aid. It is new. It is, in the words of the federal government, simplified, but most of us who deal with simplification in the government level know that that's almost an oxymoron. But we will be aggressively working to help families navigate a very different financial aid application landscape, and we look forward to weaving that into our message to make this institution more accessible and more affordable than ever before. Again, it has been a great year to be a Hawk, and I couldn't be more proud of this institution. I couldn't be more proud to be part of this institution. So thank you. Let's go Hawks, and